Can y'all hear me? Hey, good morning. Good to see you, everybody out there. Welcome to Voices from the Dirt Road. I'm getting it all mixed up, and the reason why I'm getting it all mixed up, because I'm gonna tell you the truth, I'm actually a little sleepy this morning. Last night we had some cows delivered that I bought from JYJ Farms down in Alabama last week, and it was an accident on I-20 yesterday that kind of shut the whole thing down. And those cows were supposed to be delivered here at noon yesterday. They got here last night at 10:30. That is a picture of her. She's a bred heifer. She was getting off the trailer. That's the best picture I could get. So yeah, I'm a little tired this morning, but that's okay because we got a great show for you. At the end of the show, I got Selena. She's going to be on. She's from Humana Health, and we're talking directly to veterans. So, hey, today, this is perfect because I still hadn't changed all the stuff behind me. Yes, you see the beef, but you also see I did a little time in the military. I'm proud of that, and look forward to having a discussion later on in the show about how can we get additional health care for our veterans. So please, veterans, come on board. If you know a veteran, call him or her, tell them to get on board because we're going to have some great information for them this afternoon and or earlier this morning. That's what I said. I'm real sleepy, but that's all good. First of all, I want to just thank everybody. We only been on for like 2 minutes, and we already got 100+ people watching us. So tell your friends, tell them come on in, and we can kind of go from there. Hey, let me give you kind of an update of what's going on here on the farm. As y'all guys know, I own a farm up here in Northwest Georgia. We just started it maybe about 2.5 years ago when I got out of the military, but I was born and raised on a farm in Southwest Georgia, so I know a little bit to be dangerous. No, I actually know a lot about what's going on, but what I want to say is this to all my veterans and all my fellow farmers: keep working hard. Go for your dreams. I know things are a little crazy right now, but it's going to be okay, and we're going to continue to work our way through it. A couple things that happened here on my farm this week. One, we actually started the week off with a brand new calf that was born to a black Angus cow with a Wagyu bull. So that little calf right there, there's a picture of him. That's that little guy. When I put his little earrings on him, guess what he did? He kicked me right in the shin. So he's going to be an outstanding bull someday. And just glad to have him here on the farm. But that heifer right there, she's doing an awesome job. I actually bought that heifer right there from Berry College. So I call her Berry College. She's a good mother, doing a great job, and got great genetics. And then in addition to all of that, we had 2 other cows that had calves a little bit early in the year. We still hadn't got our breeding cycle synced like I wanted. But, you know, right now with what's going on with cattle out there, I couldn't afford to have some open cows just walking around eating up grass. So I actually rented a bull. We do everything on this farm here, artificial insemination, but sometimes we have to rent a bull and bring it in because I can't afford, I guess I could say I can't afford to purchase a bull for such a small herd. Our herd is about 20 head of cattle right now. We're going to try to grow into about 40. That's the average size of a small cattle farm or a medium-sized cattle farm. So we're growing, but that rental bull came to our property. He's only been here about 3 days, and he's already out there working. But the key thing was last night, JYJ Farms, they came up and delivered my cow, and I just want to say thank you to those guys. They were very, very professional. And I know they got home safe. And this trailer as they leave my house last night.
That is outstanding. They got called in
accident out there on 20. But we got the cow. Everything's good. And you know, for Truth and Linden this morning, as soon as I finish with y'all guys, I'm going outside because I did take a picture of the calf, like I said, when she was, the cow, when she was getting off the trailer, but it wasn't that good. And then when she got mixed in with the herd, I couldn't even see her. So I'm going to go out as soon as the sun comes up and actually check on them and make sure she's okay with the rest of the crowd. Hey, right now, let me just stop and thank everybody that's already on. We roughly got about 300 people on right now. So I'm going to go on and jump into our show and continue to tell your friends to come on board because we have an awesome show for you today. I am excited about our guest. She's going to provide us some great information for our veterans. I think all of y'all guys know that I did many years in the service. And one of the things I want to make sure that happens from Voices from the Dirt Road is this, that we share information that everyday people need in the rural community. And as y'all guys know, it is a lot of veterans that are out here in the rural community. So that is my focus. I want to make sure that you have the information, your spouse has the information, so that you and your family can be taken care of, especially as you're trying to navigate your way through this healthcare situation that we have going on. But let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is SNAP this morning. As y'all guys know, over the last couple of weeks, the government finally opened back up. That is a great thing. Finally opened back up. But what I would tell you, we still feeling the effects of the government being shut down. Here in Georgia, I'm about to talk about it after we look at a couple of these videos. But here in Georgia, I want to make sure I bring some very good information that we just got yesterday from the department. And I'll get into those details after these videos. But let's just go to our very first video. It's from Atlanta first, and they're going to bring us up to speed on where we at on SNAP. I know some people are getting it, but people are still struggling. So let's make sure let's help people out. Show the first video.
Filling back up, Georgians relying on SNAP benefits are seeing their accounts restored.
Well, that money is trickling in as efforts to help feed those in a pinch continues to increase. Atlanta News First senior reporter Patrick Quinn is live in Gwinnett County. And Patrick, you were at a food distribution event in Lilburn, and it has been a very busy afternoon there today.
Tracy, we're continuing to see car after car show up here. I just got an update from leaders here. They say they've helped more than 600 families here. And so many people in line today, they're telling me that these efforts are so vital. They're just feeling the cost of living is so high right now, they say. What also helps is SNAP benefits are being fully restored statewide. SNAP benefits are flowing again in Georgia.
I got my benefits back at a trickle.
For Susie Moore in Lawrenceville, she got $16 last week, $8 this week. Her full $24 monthly allotment now restored to her EBT account. She just went grocery shopping.
Now this is a 6-pack, and it was for $10.97. So that's a little bit pricier, but I will get 6 meals out of this.
According to Georgia's Department of Human Services, after SNAP benefits were halted due to the government shutdown, all recipients who received partial benefits, like Susie, should have gotten, as of this week, the remainder of their funds. And a spokesperson told me those who get a lump sum allotment should have it by next week.
I'm budgeting to the nth degree. That last penny's screaming, let me tell you. You know.
Early Tuesday, DHS reported its website was down due to a global IT outage. A spokesperson told me the outage did not impact issuance of SNAP benefits. Roughly 1.5 million people in Georgia rely on SNAP. There certainly is a need here in Gwinnett County here at this food distribution event. We got here an hour early. The line starts here, but it wraps all the way out the front entrance of this park into the street. In Lilburn, the county handing out boxes of food.
Thank you. Have a good day.
With beans, corn, potatoes, and pasta, Thelma Gibson waited her turn.
Prices of food is so high. It's needed so much.
Back in Lawrenceville, Susie said food drives and donations make a real dent in her monthly costs. She's relieved her SNAP benefits have been restored, but she fears for how long.
Yes, I got the rest of my SNAP. It trickled in, but I got it. But what is Trump going to do? What can Trump do, you know? And, you know, what are our lawmakers going to do about all this?
And back here live in Lilburn, I just got an update from organizers. They're starting to run out of food at this distribution center. They hope to feed potentially 100 more families. This event was supposed to go till 5 o'clock, but we're starting to see things start to trickle down just a little bit. And again, the state here, they say that in terms of SNAP benefits, all recipients statewide should be fully restored by early next week. Live tonight in Gwinnett County, Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.
Well, hey, if y'all guys can see, you know, I'm glad to see that SNAP benefits are going back out. But if you looked at that video, you can tell we're in a what I call a food crisis. As you can see, it's pretty nice cars that were pulling up, trying to get some food. So this is not only about SNAP. This is about making sure that people can actually make it. But this segment here, we're talking about SNAP. I want to stop again and say thank you to everybody that's watching. We roughly got about 800 plus people that are watching right now. Hey, let me just take a few minutes and talk to you about this cup. This cup here is when I was stationed in the Virgin Islands, St. Croix. A lady actually made it, and I bought it at her little booth. This cup now is probably 7, 8 years old. I think it's the coolest cup that I actually have. It's lizards or iguanas all over the Virgin Islands, and that's what this guy's supposed to be. So it's my favorite cup. I've now had it for many years, and I plan to have it for many more. So if you ever got a chance to go down to the Virgin Islands, make sure that when you're having fun out on the beach, go to all of those little craft shops, and the people are doing an awesome job down there. So I don't remember her name, but if she's watching, thank you. I still have this cup, and I still drink coffee out of it every day, and it was handmade, so it's very precious to me. So now let's jump back into the SNAP. As we just talked about, the government is open back up. People are starting to receive their SNAP. We still have a few food distribution centers are still giving things out, and just so happened in the middle of all of that, the Secretary of Agriculture made an announcement today or this week that a person I think is kind of crazy. I think it's going to cause problems. I think it's going to hurt people. But let's see. Maybe she got a better plan than me. So let's play the video of Secretary Rollins and how she's going to help us out.
The government shutdown is over, but now millions of SNAP recipients are being asked to reapply for benefits. Talk to us about why that is necessary and if that's going to impact Americans' ability to feed their families.
Well, Nicole, first of all, thanks for having me back. It's great to see you. I think what's really important, and you mentioned it, that we have been, for the first time in history, collecting the data. We asked all the states to send data in. We had 29 states comply, most of them the red states. And what we found was staggering. And this was before the government shutdown. This is over the last few months. 186,000 dead people receiving benefits, 500,000 Americans receiving benefits 2 times, so double what they should be receiving. We've arrested more than 120 people with SNAP fraud, and that's just from the states that sent their data in. That doesn't include most of the blue states, where we believe there's even more fraud and abuse. And under the last administration, the SNAP benefits increased 40%. So clearly there's a right sizing that needs to happen. And the, I think, unintended consequence of the Democrat shutdown was now the spotlight has been shined on, and we have to make sure for those who really need this benefit that we are able to make sure that it's going to the right people. So we're making a lot of structural changes in SNAP. We'll have a big announcement about that the week after Thanksgiving, exactly what that's going to look like.
Well, as you can see, apparently we're going to start. Everybody's going to have to reapply. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to happen. But if you noticed in that video, I think when you play this back later on today or tomorrow, when you got some time, it had Georgia on there, and it was 1.4 million people receiving SNAP here in Georgia. My greater concern is how are we going to make sure that people are getting their benefits, and at the same time make sure that we have enough people in place to process all these people in a timely manner so that the people that are not breaking the rules are not being punished. I think in every government program, you have always somebody's playing some foolishness. You work through that on the administrative side and kind of just go from there. And then I think we all know people die every day. And just because you die on a Monday doesn't mean that it shows up on Tuesday. It takes some time to actually play out over the system. So we're going to have to work that out. But before we go to the next video, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody that's watching. I'm looking at the screen here, and we almost at 1,200 people, 1,200 people that are watching us live. So I want to thank you for that. Getting up this time of morning, the time now is 7:16 here in the great state of Georgia. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, like I said earlier, if you're just jumping on, today's show, the meat and potatoes of this show is going to be talking directly to veterans, talking about their health care, talking about additional health care they can get. I want to make sure that we got enough, a significant amount of people watching, that you can make sure that all the veterans are aware of this, because it's very, very important. So let's go back to SNAP. I couldn't find anything on Georgia for as a video, but we did find a video that kind of pertains to us up there in Baltimore. But I think the same issue that they have, we're going to have here in Georgia. Go on and play the video, please.
After Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins announced in media interviews and on social media that all SNAP recipients will have to reapply for benefits, writing on X, quote, "SNAP fraud is out of control, and the numbers we have prove it. Data from just 29 states uncovered nearly 200,000 people with dead people's social security numbers." Leaders with organizations like Maryland Hunger Solutions and Community Assistance Network, which help people apply for SNAP benefits, worry how the change will impact their clients and their workload.
With this administrative decision, it is going to cause chaos. Because now you're going to have everyone coming in at one time to reapply, which is not enough staffing already. I can only imagine what our doors are going to look like if they're saying everybody has to reapply at the same time and it's not like a phase out.
Our SNAP clients already have to recertify either annually, so once a year, or every 6 months as part of program regulations. So they are already complying with that requirement to do so. And honestly, anything else that would be added on top of that is just adding an extra layer of bureaucracy and challenge for our clients.
In a statement, a spokesperson with the USDA told me that the work to eliminate fraud will include the standard recertification process, ongoing analysis of state data, further regulatory work, and improved collaboration with states. Live in Hamden, I'm Brianna Ross, WBAL TV 11 News.
Hey, thank you for that, because that when I first read it 2 days ago, that's the first thing popped in my head is, do we have the staff in place to do this? And then why are we doing it? And why are we doing it right now when we just coming off a government shutdown? The government is already behind on many things. They were out of work for more than 40 plus days. So we need to get our hands around this. Hey, my team reached out yesterday. I'm gonna look at the screen here. My team reached out yesterday to the Georgia Department of Health Services to find out some additional information for Georgia specifically. Says anybody who missed SNAP benefits payments should have received their payments as of November 18th. Let me say that again. So if you were supposed to receive your payments before November 18th, as of right now, you should have all of your payments full, and then everybody else should start receiving their payments as regularly scheduled. So we like putting out up-to-date information, and as this thing play out more and more, we will dig into it more for you. We will make sure that we follow up and make sure that the people that are in need, again, people in the city, but also people in the rural community, that we actually provide you with information, make sure that you can actually get there, get recertified, and do all the things that you want to do. But we will also follow up and make sure that the department has enough people to handle all these people getting recertified and how that's going to work out. So got a little work to do, a lot of things happening, but at the end of the day, we need to feed the American people that are mostly in need. Right now, I just want to stop again and say thank you, thank you, thank you. I see that roughly about 1,500 people are actually watching us right now. We've been on about 20 minutes. So thank you, thank you. I'm always amazed of how many people get up this early with Old Soldier and talk about things that are happening in the rural community. Another hot topic I want to move to quickly is soybeans. As you know, our farmers are still struggling. As y'all guys know, President Trump and his team cut a deal with China. And I'll be honest with you. Some days they tell us that we got a deal with China. Other days they come back and say we don't have a deal with China. Sometimes we read something or somebody in our community says, yep, sales are up. And then you find out that no, China didn't buy anything. They buy everything from Brazil. So let's go to my Ag Day. That's a show that I like to start my morning off. Let's see what they had to say about it.
Welcome news for U.S. soybean growers. China has finally come in with a big buy. I'm Clinton Griffiths. Beijing buying at least 14 cargoes of U.S. beans for shipment next month and in January. AgDay's Michelle Rook joins me. Michelle, that's its largest single buying round since at least January.
Right, Clinton. After rumors to start the week, USDA confirmed on Tuesday daily sales of 29 million bushels of U.S. soybeans sold to China. Now, when added to the flash sales USDA reported last Friday, that totals nearly 38 million bushels of China bean buys so far. So it's at least a start to China's 440 million bushel commitment for this year. However, after trade talks last Friday, we're finding out the timetable for those sales may be shifting. China bought more than $12 billion of U.S. soybeans last year, so the market has been focused on China purchases, and they're finally starting to arrive with confirmation of 14 cargoes on Monday, a move that appears to signal a commitment to a trade truce agreed to late last month.
We got the confirmation today of the 792,000 metric ton, which, nice sale. It really helped the market. It's confirmation that China's in and the least they're buying.
However, Bloomberg reported up to 20 cargoes sold to COPCO for delivery in December and January from the Gulf and Pacific Northwest ports. Now, the country would need to book several cargoes a day to meet their 12 million metric ton commitment by January. However, that timetable may be shifting.
Yesterday, the administration came out and said that, China's going to come into this maybe a little slower than what was first anticipated.
They're talking about, 12 million metric tons by the end of the season. And that would mean the marketing year. So by the end of August, September 1st. If that's the case, that makes a little bit more sense. They could do that.
The biggest chunk of the China purchases is still likely to come before Brazil's new crop comes to market.
By February, so they'll start to take some of the their sales will start sometime January, February, and for their shipments about a month later. So it would be prudent that we start getting a little bit busier on getting these sales made. It needed to happen soon.
However, Turner says there's also a chance for a smaller amount of China soybean business later in the season.
But there's also a window in June, July, and August where we can kind of after Brazil's and South America's season where we can see more exports there.
Turner says if China upholds the initial 12 million metric tons and fulfills the 25 million metric tons for next year, it's good for soybean prices.
And if that's the case, then forget about blowing through, 11 to 12. It really would be blowing through 12 and 13 to get to 14.
And it's all welcome news to soybean producers.
I know there's been a lot of uncertainty within our soybean market, and announcement of sales is positive. It's another important step past the agreement that was announced a couple weeks ago.
I'm Michelle Rook reporting for Ag Day.
Well, like I said, as you can see there, a lot of things are going on. One of the things I want to make sure that our audience, and I'm thankful that there's roughly about 1,700 people watching us right now. But one of the things I want to make sure that I reorient y'all guys to what we're all about. We on this show is Voices from the Dirt Road. But when you look at this stool, I think it's important that you understand that when we're talking about SNAP is a part of the Department of Agriculture. You can see that on the back side of that stool. That's one of the legs. And then when we're talking about soybeans, we're talking about row crops. And then sometimes we talk about forestry, because right now, in the state of Georgia, I think 4 or 5 paper mills have shut down over our state, so they as hurting that industry. We'll talk more about that in future shows. And then we also talk about livestock. And livestock is the area that I'm in the cattle business, but it covers anybody with poultry, turkeys, you name it, fish, you name it. That's all in the livestock piece of that. But I want to make sure that everybody understands that all of those things are tied back to the Department of Agriculture. That's why we actually show Secretary Rollins and what she's talking about, because her words mean something. And then the last thing I would point to your attention at the very top of the stool, we got to get the farm bill passed. And you say to yourself, well, Shawn, what is the farm bill? At the end of the day, we call it the farm bill, but and don't quote me on my numbers, but I think 60+% of the farm bill is the budget for SNAP. I want to make sure that everybody understands that we named it the farm bill, and yes, it takes care of farmers, but the majority of the money that's actually in the farm bill is taking care of SNAP or taking care of our most needy. And in addition to that, the last time we had a SNAP was back in 2018. And if you actually know, prices are a lot higher here in 2025 than 2018. So we need to get that thing back in order. And so I would ask you to talk to your representatives and say, hey, let's get this farm bill passed so that we can take care of people in the city, take care of people in the rural community, and take care of our farmers. So I just wanted to stop a little bit and make sure everybody understood that piece. Right now, we roughly got about 1,800 people watching us. But I want to go back and pass on one more thing when it comes to the soybeans. And just last night or this morning, we got a report from Reuters that says, hey, China is not importing soybeans for the second month. They're actually buying soybeans from Brazil. So, excuse me, like I mentioned, we're getting information, but sometimes the information is going against each other. We will continue to work hard this upcoming week. I know we're about to go into Thanksgiving, but we will work very hard to ensure that we provide you with the right information, because at the end of the day, this is about farmers. And I'm not 100% sure, when you boil this thing down right to the farmer level, can they afford to wait on somebody to get it figured out? I'm concerned that farmers are going to start going bankrupt. I'm concerned that farmers are going to start doing short-term decisions for a long-term solution. If you guys watch my show, I talk about there at the end how we can get you some help. But again, right now, as of last night, you can see right there, that was yesterday, that this report came out of Reuters that said, hey, it doesn't look like China's buying this stuff. So again, conflicting information. Let's move on to my neck of the woods, and that's beef. I'm gonna speed this thing up a little bit so that we can get to our guests. Right now, we got almost 2,000 people watching us live, so I want to thank you for that. My goal is to try to have it up around 3,000 people. So tell your friends. So I want to at least have about 3,000 people watching us live when I get to my guests here. So the last thing I'm going to talk about before we go to the guests is talking about beef. If y'all guys know that I'm in the beef industry myself, we run a cow-calf operation. We're still very small. That's okay. I think y'all guys also know that I served in the military, so I'm a veteran. And I'm living my dream. I dream to be able to have my own farm, and I have it. Is it easy? Yes. Or no, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, but I love it every day. It gives me purpose. It gives me something to do. And I just want to be able to take my passion and share it with you and try to help out other farmers any kind of way I can. So right now we roughly got about 2,000 people. Let's see. This has been another crazy week in the world of agriculture, specifically in beef. Let's go to President Trump. A couple of weeks ago said he was going to bring Argentina beef in and try to bring down the prices in the grocery store. A lot of things has happened. So let's let President Trump speak for himself on beef this week.
This, we are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had. Their talking points, oh, costs are high, costs are high. By the way, the only thing is beef. Coffee is a little high because the ranchers are doing great. Coffee, we're going to lower some tariffs. We're going to have some coffee come in. We're going to take care of all this stuff very quickly, very easily. It's surgical. It's beautiful to watch. But our costs are way low.
Well, you know, that's what the president said. I'm not going to say I agree or disagree. He's the president of the United States. People are briefing him, but I think if the people that are actually out here in the real world are probably just know when they go in the grocery store, I don't care where you go in the grocery store, from Publix to Kmart. I mean, not Kmart, but I'm dating myself. Go into Walmart or wherever you go. I think you know that grocery prices are pretty high right now. And you notice the reporter mentioned coffee. Late this week, I think they put out a list of all the things we're going to take the tariffs off to try to bring down the cost. But you know, let's see how it works out. At the end of the day, we all need to understand that because beef prices are high in the store, that has nothing to do with the farmer that's actually producing you the cow. We talked about it last week. It is 4 producers. Those 4 producer companies are the ones that are controlling all the price. And the president last week launched the investigation. But I would tell you, from doing all these years in the military, just because you launch your investigation don't mean anything's going to change. So we need to make sure we hold people accountable and get at these 4 meat packing organizations that really control everything in the grocery store, and then everything when it comes to price of beef when we sell our cows. But let's see what Secretary Rollins got to say about beef this week.
On soybean farmers, let's expand. Let's talk cattle ranchers. The president, we know, focusing on affordability right now. He's cutting tariffs on beef, other food items. Beef prices right now, anybody who's been to the grocery store, they're way up. We're seeing this increase in market demand. The CEO of Omaha Steaks even warning of potentially $10 a pound beef becoming a reality next year. When do you see some relief coming, Secretary, to beef prices and really for those cattle ranchers?
Yes, and this is something the president is very focused on. In fact, about an hour ago, I was in our 4th meeting on cattle and beef in the Roosevelt Room right behind me with other members of the cabinet and senior staff. One of them joked that cattle have never been discussed so much in the best way, as the president is focused on ensuring that we're supporting our great farmers and ranchers. Listen, this is a supply and demand market. We are at our lowest herd in 75 years. The last administration had a little bit of a war on our cattle ranchers. They were concerned there was some climate change implications from cattle. They made it very difficult. We have opened up 5 million acres of grazing land for cattle. We're opening up smaller processing plants. We're launching a $100 million Made in America, or Born in America, Produced in America campaign in January, really to support these cattlemen as we're working to bring the price of beef down. In the larger context, almost everything else is coming down. Dairy, eggs, cheese, turkey for Thanksgiving next year. I think the basket is about 17% lower this year than it was last year. But there are some outliers. Beef is one of them. The president's committed to getting that down, but also to ensuring that we're supporting, protecting, and rebuilding our herd for our cattle ranchers.
All right, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, I really.
Well, we heard our Secretary of Agriculture. I would hope to be able to get her on this show so we can talk directly to her. My team, we're working that. So if any of y'all guys out there know the secretary, tell her about Voices from the Dirt Road, because I would love to interview her and have her talk directly to the American people that's actually out here in the rural community, especially the ones of you that watch this particular show. And again, I just want to stop and say thank you. We roughly got about 2,200 people watching us this morning. It's about 7:30. When Secretary Rollins talks about beef prices, it's a lot of things that she talk about. We have to continue to watch it closely, because words are just words. You need to follow the actions. And at the end of the day, we're going to be following up in January, see there's all those things that she just said are actually going to happen or not. And when you get into this Thanksgiving basket, if you go do your research, you'll find out the reason why that Thanksgiving basket costs less is because it's a Walmart basket that they're talking about. Is because they put less items in it. So you're not getting the same thing you got in past years, and people that understand that know where we're standing. So let's continue as cattlemen to continue to work on this. What I did like what she said is plenty of things that the Cattlemen Association and other associations have been fighting for: opening up grazing land, making additional processing plants closer in the region, creating competition. One thing I didn't hear her talk about specifically was the investigation against the 4 meat packing plants. So we got to continue to stay on top of this because it's going to affect us very, very much so. And it's going to affect you when you go in your grocery store. So we all got skin in the game on this one right here. But hey, now we're to the best part of the show. We're about to go to our guests. We got 2,217 people watching us live. And as y'all guys know, I am a disabled veteran, proud of my service in the military. As you can see, I still hadn't changed my background from the military to agriculture. We're taking some pictures, going to get those things switched out. But this morning, I love to introduce you to my guest, Selena. Let's bring Selena up. Selena, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good to see you. I'm so excited that we got you on the show. Some close friends of mine reached out to me a few weeks ago and said, close military friends of mine reached out to me a few weeks ago and said, hey, Shawn, you got a great show, man. And I know it's Voices from the Dirt Road and all these kind of things, but do you think if you brought a guest on that would talk to veterans, talk to them, talking about additional health care, depending on all these things, would that fit your show? And I said to him, hell yeah, it'll fit my show. Let's make it happen, because at the end of the day, only 1%, less than 1% of American people raise their hand and become a veteran. So at the end of the day, a lot of those individuals live out here in the rural community. And today we're talking about how can we get them additional health care across the board. So Selena, glad to have you on board. Can you kind of introduce yourself and tell people who you are and who you're representing? And then we'll get into some questions.
Yeah, my name is Selena Sumter, and I'm a Humana representative that assists seniors, retired veterans, spouse, with getting additional Medicare benefits. And today I'd like to share some pieces about how Humana has, for several years, carved out a Medicare plan specifically for veterans and their spouse.
Excellent. And like I think I've said to the group, but I'll say it again because sometimes I can't remember exactly what I said. I'm a veteran. I'm disabled. I don't normally say this, but I am 100% disabled. And I think sometime when people hear you say that, they think, well, you know, did you get an arm blown off or your leg gone or whatever? They that's what they have in their mind. Right. But the reality of it is, you can be at different levels of being disabled. Can you kind of walk people through when people say they disabled, that, you know, some people say they 10%, 20%, all those kind of things. Can you kind of walk them through that process?
Well, the process starts with you going to your local VA veterans office, the administrative side. Sometimes they have a disabled veteran office or officer there that can help you get started with your benefit. If you're a veteran that has been wounded or whatever your records have, they'll start that process. I'm not all familiar with the entire process, how it happens, but if you're 100% disabled veteran.
Yep, I see we got a question from the audience that says, if you're 100% disabled veteran, are you qualified and are you eligible? So please.
Yes. The one that is 100% disabled, qualified, is eligible, and the one that is just beginning their process, because that is something you're doing for the benefit of yourself and your family. The plan is designed if you have TRICARE for Life, CHAMP VA, and usually when you're 100%, the spouse and extended part of the family have access to CHAMP VA. So if a person says I only did a tour of 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, the plan is still designed for you. But if you're 100% disabled, this is just giving you additional benefits of what you already have with the VA.
So one of the key things that we need to point out to our veterans is first of all, you need to go to the VA.
Yes.
You who cares if you like it or not, you still need to go to the VA, you still need to participate, you still need to get everything documented, you still need to make sure that you're taking care of your business. The other thing that I also want to say is spouses. I'm
Yes.
talking directly to you.
Yes.
And when I say spouses, I don't care if the spouse is a female or a male. Spouses, help us, because my fellow veterans, the only person we actually listen to is you. So if you tell us to go to our appointment at the VA, we're going to go. If you tell us to take our medicine, we're going to do it. If you tell us to, hey, do we have additional insurance to take care of you and to take care of the spouse and your kids, at least they will then go out and start going through the process and reaching out to somebody like you. So can you kind of tell us, and we see I got another question up there, can you kind of tell us how these benefits work and all the different things that our veterans and spouses need to know?
Well, one of the first thing I want to make sure I show, I'm sure a lot of you seen this card. Looks like a red, white, and blue. That's your Medicare Part A and B. So you will need to have Medicare Part A and B first. And the additional benefits, what we do, we absorb A and B and add C. So with that stated, we will, in Part C, we have $150 credit back to your Medicare payment. In 2026, Medicare is going up to $206.50. That is the baseline, depending on your income. So that's the baseline amount. It could be higher depending on your baseline when you retired. So let's use $206.50. That's just A and B. So Humana comes up and say, these are some additional benefits we're going to create for our retired veterans and their spouse. That is, the benefit is $150 added back, credit back monthly to your Medicare payment. And it'll go back to your Social Security retirement. And then you get dental, vision, gym membership, hearing aid. Yes, a lot of these benefits you can actually access at the VA if you have those pieces in place with being a veteran. Whether you do not have TRICARE or CHAMP VA, a veteran can still access their benefits through the VA. But we come along and say, outside the VA, you have options. I call it AOAB. That's A for access to additional doctors. That is non-VA medical. O, options. You need options. You need to be able to have that second opinion, have a doctor outside the VA, and also the access where additional benefits that you're going to have added. And then you will have the benefits is what I just stated. These are all the benefits that you are entitled to that we created so that you can continue what you're doing in your life. When you travel, it's a national plan. So as you travel, especially during the holidays like we have now, you're going to go and visit family. These benefits, this particular benefits, go where you go.
Hey, let me just piggyback on that a little bit. Because as a veteran, I go to the VA. I love the people that work at the VA. I go to the little clinic there in Rome, Georgia. I go to the VA down in Atlanta. I have visited some of my soldiers up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The reason why I kind of lay that out is none of those places are right next door to each other. So it's some drive time in there. And I do know some of my fellow veterans don't go to appointments strictly because transportation issues, or strictly because they say, you know what, kind of like we started the program off talking about my cow that was supposed to be coming to my farm yesterday at noon. It was an accident on 20. Traffic was backed up. They said, you know what, man, the news said traffic is bad in Atlanta. I'm not going. So by getting this additional insurance that you have, if I'm understanding it, then you can go and find your local doctor, someone close to your house, and say, can I get an appointment? I know I'm supposed to be going to the VA. I'm not poo-pooing on the VA, but I want to go on and get this checked, because sometimes when you go to the VA, it may take some time to get an appointment. So is that what I'm understanding, is you actually have two insurance policies that you can have a civilian doctor in addition to your VA doctor?
That is correct. You definitely will have access to the Humana nationwide medical, non-medical VA facilities. So you have that option to say, hey, I'm going to call my local doctor that's in my area and get your appointment, go in, and there you have it. The same thing applies to a dentist. Yes, you have all of these medical benefits at the VA, but now you have that option, as I stated, to say, hey, I just want to go get my teeth clean. I want to get a filling. Well, this benefit we have right at about $1,000 on the dental side for our veterans and their spouse. They can go to the dentist, get their work done, easy access, so you can continue to go to the VA. And I see a question there, but you can continue to go to the VA if you choose. But if you want to make that call locally, like you're saying, not far, we have to drive a great deal. You choose the doctor in the area that's closest to you, that you're comfortable with, and you make that call and just go in.
Excellent. And I see our question, but before we get to our question, I want to ask one additional question. Does your program address glasses? I know you're talking about dental. Is the glasses included in it?
Yes, you will have a prescription, have your eyes checked. You can also have vision will be included, which will be glasses and or contacts.
Okay. And it is kind of funny that we're having this conversation. Again, I want to thank, is roughly about 3,000 people watching us right now. And I hope that more than half of those are spouses and veterans. And we'll replay this later on to make sure that people can get this information. But when I got out of the military 2.5 years ago, one of the things that they helped me with in my retirement class was to ensure that I actually signed up with y'all guys' program. I mean, that's how small the world is that as I was getting out of the Army there at Fort Benning, one of the last things I did was got on the phone, talked to somebody like you with my wife. My wife, Carla, was right there to ensure that, yes, I was going to go to the VA, but at the same time, made sure that I had some civilian doctors and civilian support outside of the VA, because where we live, it was going to be such a long drive for me to get to the VA. So we got a question here. Can you tell us the difference in the plans and how they work together and all those kind of things?
Well, I have in my arsenal about 20 different Medicare plans.
Okay.
When you say do the different plans work together, so we're looking at the benefits of the veteran. That veteran may have served over 20 years, so he will have what you call TRICARE for life.
Yes.
Well, Humana's had a relationship with the military for quite some time. We have group policies when they're working or on the federal side. And then we also are part of the TRICARE, and you'll see TRICARE has prime. So like you was in that prime what time, and then if you retire, it goes to TRICARE for life, but you have to have Medicare Part A and B, and the same for Champ VA. So those are the plans, or those are what the benefits you already have with the VA because of the service that you have provided to our country. And and let me add, when you say plans, out of my other plan, I have one that is for someone that has Medicare and Medicaid. So I have a special plan for that individual, because sometimes financially they've reached on a level where they're not making a whole lot of money. So they qualify for the SNAPS benefits. And in that Department of Health and Human Services is where Medicaid fall under. So if they happen to have Medicare and Medicaid, then I have a plan for them as well. But back to our veterans, because you can always contact me and I can explain to whomever have questions. But yes, the plans work together. This complements what that veteran and a spouse already have. It doesn't disrupt any of what their plan have, because we do not have we call them A, B, C, and D. A, hospital. B is for when you go to primary physician. That's Medicare Part A and B. Well, Humana come along and have A, B, and C. So C means the credit back to your retirement of 150 or 150 in Georgia every month. Through each state, it could be higher or a little bit lower depending on which state, because this is a nationwide plan offered to veterans across the nation. But I'm going to use Georgia because you're from Georgia, and you will have an additional increase in your benefits from us for next year as well. So when someone signs up for the plan, they get C. That is credit back every month, dental, vision, hearing aid, gym membership. That's included. 0 premium, 0 copay to go to see the doctor. So those things we streamline that for you. And at the same time, you don't have to stop going to the VA. Continue to do what you feel comfortable doing, but take advantage of these additional benefits because it complements and works with what you already have. And you are entitled to these benefits.
That's excellent. I know some people may have saw me typing there, and I'm not the best typer, but we're actually getting questions real time from individuals out there. So again, I'm gonna give you, I think you can see the question like I can, but I just want to stop and say thank you to everybody that's actually watching us live. Right now, it's roughly about 3,000 people. This is what this show is all about, is Voices from the Dirt Road. It's about reaching back to our rural community and bringing you good information, great information that you can use real time. And today we have an outstanding guest. She's giving us real time information about healthcare and what you can do. So can you see the question like I can see the question?
Yes. It says, I'm not old enough for Medicare. I have TRICARE Select for me and my family. How does this impact me? Well, right now, TRICARE Select, TRICARE Prime, you have to have Medicare Part A and B. Yes, you're not old enough yet, but this was specifically for individuals that had TRICARE for life. I regrettably they don't have a plan for you, but you can go into the market and look at getting additional benefits, but you can go right into TRICARE and ask for those additional benefits. You pay for them, like the dental and vision. But at this juncture, we do not have a plan for someone with TRICARE Select. It's for TRICARE Prime or CHAMP VA. So, and I want to address the CHAMP VA again. When you asked about the 100% disability, become 100% qualified. Again, that is an individual that has been working to get that benefit, and their spouse will receive CHAMP VA. So these secondary insurance will continue to be your secondary insurance, and your primary will be Medicare. And if you decide to engage with me with the plan, then Humana will become the primary, and then your TRICARE for Life or CHAMP VA will become secondary. And if you do not have TRICARE for Life or CHAMP VA, you still qualify for the plan, but this is some pieces I will just explain to you what you will be engaged with.
That's one of the unique things about veterans. When we say veterans, that is a big umbrella.
Yes.
Reality of it is, boy, we are all very different in every aspect of our lives after serving in the military. And what I want to convey to everybody out there is this is why, like the question that we just received, this is why I would say take the time, reach out to somebody like you, Selena, and make sure that you're talking specifically about you and your family situation. Don't sit around with the rest of our veteran buddies over some Coca-Cola or some sweet tea. I'll leave it at that level. And all, whatever's going on in their lives, now that's the answer for you. That is not the case. Everybody's story is different. You have to sit down with the people and gonna go from there. I see we got another question that just popped up. This is awesome.
Yes, it says I'm retired after 24 years. How old do I have to be to get TRICARE for life? So TRICARE usually go with the age of 65. You can check locally with TRICARE, and they can look up your benefits and give you the specifics. I have seen individuals receive Medicare, but you have to have Medicare Part A and B. So you would have to reach out to TRICARE and get all the specifics about your age. Retirement usually is typically 65. I have seen individuals with Medicare at age 62. So again, that is that conversation you will have with your administrative part of the VA with TRICARE. I would recommend.
I would tell you my experience is, call TRICARE direct. Talk to the rep. Sometimes the rep can give you the right answer, but then try to get to leadership, management, whatever, and tell them your life story in the military. It comes back to how many years you've been in, what how you got out, and all those kind of things, and then you can get to the conversation of TRICARE for life and all those kind of things. Only thing I can tell you, these were all the conversations that I actually had down at Fort Benning when I was going through the retirement process. It was just another station in the 5,000 steps that you had to do to get out. I hadn't actually ever said it on this show. But I was a retired officer. I guess somebody would say my rank was pretty high. So I am passionate about taking care of our soldiers, Marines, Airmen, Space Force, everybody, Coast Guard across the board. So when I'm speaking on this show here, Voices from the Dirt Road, I want you to receive every benefit that I have received because you have earned it. And I also want to say thank you to the plus 3,000 people that are actually watching us right now. And I see we have another question there. Do you want to try to answer that question, or can you answer that question?
I can. How do I enroll in what you're talking about? Very, very good question. That's why I'm here today. You can contact me. I have several years of doing this. I am a part of the Veterans Organization, but with Humana, I'll be glad to speak with you and get you enrolled. We're in enrollment period right now. It started October the 15th, and it'll go through to December the 7th.
So December the 7th, they got.
Yes.
We just put your number up there, so there's gonna be a whole bunch of people calling you today.
That's fine.
Don't be
That is
talking about you trying to get ready for Turkey Day.
Oh no, I work 7 days a week because this is a very crucial time to get people started. The plan it actually starts January the 1st. If you signed up, my number is 803-348-9524. And again, I'm Selena Sumter. I will tell you this: we have over 3 million veterans and their spouse on this plan across the nation. Right now, I have several, almost 200 veterans that I work with between the states that has this plan. One actually have been looking at what they've been saving. The husband and the wife together, she has a saving of $1,600 that Humana pays every year out at an increment of that $150. So $1,600 for her, $1,600 for him. That's $3,600 that they keep, and Humana is helping them not liquidate their funds and use that money for other things that they want to do. That's our way of saying thank you to our military. You hear, thank you so much for your service, and we do mean it. But Humana has put something to back up what we really mean when we say Humana honors veterans and we thank you for your years of service.
Well, hey, you know, we've been talking now for 1 hour. It's 8
Yes.
o'clock in the morning. Celine, from my understanding, you're here in Georgia with us also, correct?
Correct. I'm between Georgia and South Carolina. But
Okay.
Georgia is where the residence is, and I do have a home in South Carolina, but I'm a Georgia girl. I'm a peach girl now.
All
But
right.
yes, and I do want to add, I do virtual appointments, just like we're talking virtually.
Okay.
And so don't be
So,
afraid.
so as we close this out, and
Yeah.
if there's some more questions, please, team, throw them up there. I don't have to run out of here. As everybody know, the show is not over until the cup is empty. So we can keep talking if it's important to our audience. But what I do want to say is this to our veterans, to the spouses, please, even if you think your insurance and everything is just like you want it, okay, it doesn't hurt to call and just check, because one thing I would tell you is just because you got something 5 years ago don't mean a lot of things has changed. Okay. You go get the oil changed in your car. So let's kind of look at our benefits like that. Just because we signed up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, it may be a better deal for you now. I'm not trying to push any particular thing. What I want to make sure is that if you're having a medical issue and you try to get into the VA and you can't get an appointment in a timely manner, or hell, the VA is too far of a drive for you to get there, and you got too old to drive and you're scared of the traffic, then you have a backup that you're going to a local doctor right there in your little hometown. And the reason why I bring that to your attention is this show, Voices from the Dirt Road, is laser focused on rural America. And in rural America, you might actually have a very small hospital or clinic and 2 or 3 doctors. And that's where you'll be going to take care of everything, so that when you're in the grocery store, you don't supposed to be able to speak to your doctor, but in small towns, everybody say hi to each other and you keep on going. So again, thank you for being on our show. I think there's going to be a lot of people going to be calling you.
I look forward to it.
And I want to say thank you for everything that you and your organization is doing for us as veterans. I can speak personally on it. I have the insurance that you're talking about, and I love going to my VA. I want to make sure that nobody understands that I'm poo-pooing on the VA. I love going to the VA, but I also love going to my little doctor's office. Is less than 3 miles from my house.
That's right.
I mean, that is big time to be able to just pull right out of here, go up there, walk in. Hey, doc, how you doing? Good to see you. And go through some of the same checks that I do at the VA.
That's right.
But it's right here local, and I can come on back here to the farm and take care of things. So again, thank you. I'm going to go on and close out the show. We have been talking now a little bit more than an hour. What I will say to everybody is this: one is thank you. It's over 3,000, almost 4,000 people watching us right now. In addition to that, when this show is over, it will go immediately live. Immediately it'll be posted back out there. I will make sure that my team put in the write-up what we talked about today, specifically with our guests, but on top of that direct number. And we will even put in the thing, if you want to time snap it, to say Shawn talked about soybeans and all that, but if you want to skip that and go specifically to the healthcare part, we'll put in the thing that, hey, at 45 minutes or whatever it was, this is when he started talking about healthcare for veterans. So we're going to do that. As I always end all the shows, right now in the world of agriculture, things are up and down. Things are crazy. Farmers are a little nervous, or really, really nervous about what's going on with soybean prices and everything else. They don't want to be the individual that lost the family farm. Okay. Don't want to be the individual. So I want to make sure, like I do every week, that if you're struggling in any kind of way, this is the number to call. I again pass that on to our spouses and your friends, that if you're in a struggle, let's make the phone call, get you some help, because I don't want you to make a short-term decision for a long-term situation. So help me help you. In addition to that, we are working, trying to get somebody to come on our show that talks to farmers that are in crisis and they focus on the rural community. We're not there yet, but we're trying to get there, because I'm truly concerned that with everything that's going on in agriculture, that we have some of our fellow farmers that are committing suicide, and we need to make sure that we can focus on that and help them get a good show, some support. So again, we have been on now for a little bit more than an hour. This is our, hold on, let me go back and look. This is our 9th episode. I think we're getting better and better. Next week, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be Thanksgiving. So next week, we're going to be moving into our real podcast. I think that's what we're going to be doing. So you'll be able to find it on the podcast app and all that kind of stuff. But in addition to that, because it's Thanksgiving, I want y'all guys to spend time with your family. Okay. So next week, what I will end up doing, I'll do kind of like a little opening thing, but ultimately you'll be able to watch all 9 episodes. So you'll be able to binge watch it or whatever you want to do, or just go catch the best parts and kind of go from there. So again, thank you. If you see me out and about, please stop me and give me ideas, or send us ideas of what kind of shows that you want us to do, things that affect the rural community. Again, I see it's 35 plus 100 people watching us live. So again, thank you. And the way we always end the show, hey, guess what? The cup is empty, and you can see it's always messing my desk up. So hey, have a great day. Let's go out there and be smart, get things done. Have a great one.